Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, this is the ninth film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio as actor Rick Dalton, Brad Pitt as his stunt double Cliff Booth, and Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate, and it basically follows their adventures through Hollywood in the 60s. Now, this movie I was pretty excited for because the biggest thing I'd heard going into this film was it's just a love letter to Hollywood. And that's such a big thing for me. I was really excited for that, as well as being a Quentin Tarantino film. I was just excited to kind of see that play through with such a long runtime of 2 hours and 40 minutes. Now, let's start off with the biggest positive, and that is Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. Shit. They are good. If you even question if these guys are really good actors, watch this film and then tell me that I'm right, because they're crazy good. This movie's biggest flaw is that it doesn't really have a story, right? That's the biggest thing, and I'll get into that a bit later. But it's still so damn enjoyable and such a great film because of how good an actor Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt are. Because they literally just take this whole film on their shoulders and go, yo, this is how good we are. Because I feel like you choose the wrong people and we're following them, we're going to get bored, we're going to get uninterested, and we want to walk out. These guys keep you engaged the entire time and they just kill it. Brad Pitt's character is obviously a stuntman. He's very, very entertaining. He's a very quippy, funny guy. And that was very, very entertaining. He kind of gets adventures because of the loss of roles, and a loss of roles for him as well. As being a stuntman, he kind of also works for Leonardo DiCaprio's character as kind of his best friend, and he basically just does anything for him. He's kind of his assistant, like he'll just do stuff around his house, he'll drive him places, all this kind of stuff, and just the adventures that he goes through is very, very entertaining, as well as Leonardo DiCaprio as Rick Dalton. Amazing. Like his kind of journey through trying to become a relevant actor again, or try to change him because he's always playing a bad guy and he wants to kind of see how he does as the front man, as the hero, and that kind of journey he takes. And just him going through seeing all of his films is really, really good. It shows how good of an actor he is, because he can literally go, all right, Rick Dalton is going to have a bad scene here. Leo, can you act bad, please? And then he does it, kills it. And then you see kind of, there's a scene where he goes and kind of hypes himself. He's like, I got to be better than that. I got to be better than that. And then he does a really, really good scene. I'm like, that just shows how good Leo is, that he can deliberately act a specific way and crush it. And that's the thing as well, throughout the film, not even just when he's acting, but when he's just, as in like not when Rick Dalton is acting, but when he's just playing Rick Dalton, around town, he's very good. His emotional moments are very good, and these two actors just crush it. And I probably could watch 5 hours of them just talking shit, doing all the things they were doing, and it'd be entertaining. Now, as far as the rest of the movie goes, it's very well done. It's beautifully shot. The sets are amazing. The whole 60s aesthetic is just phenomenal. It's really engaging. There is constantly funny scenes, funny dialogue going on that's just thoroughly entertaining. And it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. Does not feel that at all. It really doesn't. You can kind of feel that it is a bit long. Like, it just feels a little bit longer than a normal film is, because a normal film is 2 hours. So when you're adding another 40 minutes on that, 45 minutes, only 3/4 of that, like, you can tell, but it didn't drag on. Like, if that makes any sense, you didn't go, alright, this could have ended 40 minutes ago, because it couldn't. And that's the thing, it's just so thoroughly entertaining, it's shot so well, it looks beautiful, and just the dialogue itself shows how good Quentin Tarantino's writing is, how funny it is, and how good their delivery was, because it literally just keeps you entertained with really no direct story going on. Now, that kind of will get me into the flaw of the film. Two flaws, kind of, but the flaw of the film for me was the story. There wasn't really one, which I kind of get. It kind of felt like a Seinfeld episode, which I love Seinfeld, but it's an episode. It's 20 minutes. You can get away with not having a story for 20 minutes because of the characters. The same way that Jerry Seinfeld and Kramer and George and Elaine can get away with, muffling around for 20 minutes. They're doing this for 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I can get points where you're like, okay, you need to start doing something. And there is little sprinkles of stuff like that. There's a scene at Sport Ranch with Brad Pitt that I thought was interesting. There was, the whole journey kind of through his just career. They're, options that are like, okay, there's a way the story's going to go, but it never really follows that, which is kind of interesting, probably could have. As well as Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate. Really, really underutilized. Not just because, I wanted to see Sharon Tate, but I want to see Margot Robbie. She gets a lot of screen time, but she doesn't, there's no story getting told with her. She barely says anything. They're kind of just, planting her along, seedling her along. Sharon Tate. And that's another thing. It's a non-biopic biopic, because it uses a real character, Sharon Tate, as well as, Marilyn Manson, Charles Manson, and you know, kind of sprinkles them in through this story about these two guys, an actor and his stunt double. So you're kind of wondering, well, with it, how will this cross over? And that's something that they address. But I still think Margot Robbie was very underutilized because she is a terrific actress. If you even doubted that she's just a pretty face, watch I, Tonya. She's spectacular in that. So I would have liked to see that sprinkled in. But everything that you doubt and everything you go, all right, you probably could have taken a scene out, or you could have, you know, maybe cut that one down, or like, where we going with this? The kind of, I don't want to say it's the final scene, but the conclusion of this movie is tremendous. It is the funniest, craziest, most entertaining shit I've seen in cinema in a very long time. And I just saw Avengers Endgame. This scene is amazing. This whole movie felt new. It felt fresh, even though it was set in the 60s. I think it's something different that we haven't seen in film in a long time. Love letter, the throwback towards all this old stuff, and just their quippy kind of stuff that they do through the films to kind of show his films is very funny, deliberately bad, deliberately well done. It's tremendous. But that final scene was hilarious. And we had a really big packed theater, which was interesting because I haven't felt like I've gone to a packed theater in a long time. There's probably maybe, you know, 70 to 100 people in that cinema. Everyone was laughing, everyone was gasping, everyone was going off at the right times. It was just hitting all the right notes. And it was such a... that scene is literally worth the price of admission. You could go in and see that 10, 15 minute, however long it was, and you want to go, all right, I'll pay again for the rest of the movie, because this, to get to that scene, it's ridiculously good. Again, few flaws in this movie, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's just such a great time, and it really shows how good of an actor Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio are, because they just completely hold this movie together. They're so enjoyable, and the dialogue is hilarious. It's very, very, very funny. You will understand everything I'm talking about, and the scenes and the quips and all the stuff I'm talking about if you go and see it. I definitely recommend you go and see it. I'm not going to compare it to other Tarantino films, because that could be a video for another time for me, as well as I feel like he does them so separately apart. I feel like they're just different movies. And you get the Tarantino vibes, and through this, I feel like that end scene was like, if you forgot it's a Tarantino film, I'm going to remind you it's a Tarantino film. But it's so different in the stuff that he does, and I felt like this was something different. Is it the best Tarantino movie? Without ranking them, no, it's not. But is it a very, very good film and a thoroughly enjoyable, well done, crafted masterpiece? Probably. Probably. I'm going to give Once Upon a Time at Hollywood a B+. Honestly, guys, this kind of felt like an A-. I don't really do A-, which is kind of the big thing. But the whole, like, you got to think when it comes to films, one of the biggest things is story. Like, what is the plot of this film? And when a movie doesn't really have a plot, I have to downgrade it, a bump a little bit. That was kind of the thing. I'm like, I can't give it the perfect rating for a new release review just because of the plot and the underutilization, those slight flaws, bump it down. But I had a hell of a lot of fun with this movie. One of my favourite movies in recent years, for sure. I think it'd definitely be guaranteed top 5. Pretty much in every year for the last, like, since I've been doing the list, and I pretty much, you know, unless some curveball comes at me, I'm pretty much guaranteeing this top 5 this year. This movie was just such a fun time. I think even if you don't like Tarantino, I think you will enjoy this film. It's just so much fun. I think if you're a DiCaprio or a Pitt fan, that's when you're going to really kick this movie into gear. I can understand, I've heard some negative things and people saying it drags on and not enjoyable enough and the plot's down. I think that's the biggest thing, the plot. Definitely, I think, is what people are really hurt by. But I think just take the movie in. Really, you know, feel out the movie, and I think you'd have a great time with it. Make sure you do subscribe to the rest of my videos. Press that subscribe button, bell, all that good stuff. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you've seen the movie, or let me know if you've seen other Tarantino movies, or if you want to see this movie, anything you want to talk about, make sure you comment below. As well as checking my other videos, I just dropped a in-depth part 4 at the collection behind me, so make sure you check that out. That's the last video I dropped, as well as an Endgame Steelbook unboxing. All some good stuff. I've got some good plans for next week. I think the videos are going to be a little bit like maybe one a week for the next couple of weeks, because the movies have shelved down a little bit, but I think our next one's going to be it, and that's not till early September. So looking forward to that, guys. But again, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.